All right, up next we have Yoon Park. Yoon is a designer, creative technologist, and author from Seoul, Korea. As a principal UX designer at Microsoft on the HoloLens and mixed reality design team, he's leading the design effort for open source project Mixed Reality Toolkit, also known as MRTK, focusing on the developer and creator ecosystem experience. He's coming to us remote from Seattle, so on to Yoon.
Hey, everyone. Hi, everyone. Great to be here back at AWE. So in this session, we're going to learn about MRTK Figma Toolkit and Figma Bridge for Unity. So my name is Yoon Park, Principal UX Designer at Microsoft Mixed Reality Design Team. My focus area is the developer experience design. So I'm designing everything for make you developers and creators, make it easy for building great experiences for mixed reality. So my original background was software engineering, but I changed my career after studying graphic design. So yeah, because of that background, I have been personally experimenting with mixed reality a lot in different way. Upper right is one of my personal project called Type in Space, which allows you to play and experience with the type and the physical space. On the bottom right is something called COVID-19 data visualization for HoloLens 2, based on my personal interest in the data visualization in volumetric space. So I've been sharing my personal design stories and development stories on Medium, so you can check it out. So for those of you who are not familiar with MRTK, Mixed Reality Toolkit, MRTK is a Microsoft-driven open source project where you can find foundational components and the building blocks for common spatial UI and interactions. So MRTK provides kind of solutions for these crucial mixed reality problems, design challenges, like how can I grab and move an object, or how can I rotate an object, and how can I add a visual feedback, or how can I make an object follow you. So all of these are quite common, crucial mixed reality design challenges. So with MRTK, you can achieve these goals. So here are some of the components. Like with object manipulator, you can grab and move and manipulate object with one hand or two hands. It also supports near interaction and far interaction as well. So you can directly touch and grab or use hand ray. You can also rotate and scale object in 3D space using this bounce control, which is a standard UI for HoloLens and mixed reality. And MRTK provides many spatial UI controls that supports direct hand interactions. And hand menu is one of the most popular UX patterns. So as you can see, you can quickly bring up the menu using the hand and take a quick action and hide it. Or you can also grab and place in somewhere in the world. And tooltip is also quite useful for annotation and labeling physical or digital object in space. And MRTK also provides a way to leverage physical surfaces and provides solvers, which allows you position digital object in many different ways. And MRTK standard shader provides various types of visual effect in more performant way that optimize for this mobile GPU and CPU. So you can achieve a lot of visual effects. And we have some UI controls like a slider that supports direct hand interactions. Near menu is a floating menu that follows you around you. You can easily access anytime. You can also grab it and place it and word lock it. And also it can follow you after reaching a certain distance. And yeah, scrolling object collection, you can directly touch and scroll 2D or 3D objects. And a slate controls the supporting 2D images or other 2D content, provides this kind of Windows style UI. Then you can grab and make it follow you. Also, some of the useful components like a hand coach, like a teaching component. And we have many eye tracking examples, like using position of the eye, you can control the content. Excuse me. So you can also visualize the eye position using heat map. So using these MRTK components, you can achieve some of the common and crucial spatial interaction patterns. And one of the another benefit of using MRTK is this cross-platform input system. So as you can see, when you deploy a scene to HoloLens, you can run with the direct hand interactions. And also, if you deploy the same scene to VR devices, you can support motion controller, and also it supports mobile device, Android and iOS device. And it also even supports lip motion sensor. And yeah, one of the benefits of using MRTK control is that while we're building with these controls, we spend a lot of time and effort for researching and prototyping and setting. So for example, this button, because button is one of the most basic and simple UI, but it's also quite complicated one because you have to kind of consider the fact that you're essentially pressing through the air. So you have, it has a lot of ingredients, details to achieve this kind of user experience quality. So basically make it feel right. So as you can see, it has a kind of proximity light, which lighting effect based on the distance between the fingertip to the target surface. And there's a compressing box, which makes you feel like actually pressing it. And also there's a subtle pulse effect that kind of indicates that when the event is actually triggered. And of course, all corresponding audio feedback. So yeah, these are kind of the result of years of research and development so from our design team. So if you use MRTK, then you can get the benefit, you can leverage all of these things. And MRTK is available in Unity and Unreal. So you can find both projects on GitHub. So let me introduce Figma Toolkit for MRTK and Unity Bridge. So it started from our voice from our mixed reality community. So we got a lot of questions about, do you have any design assets that we can use for 2D UX sketching and storyboarding? So typically, the game engines are really not that familiar tools for the most of UX designers, especially if we're coming from 2D and mobile industry. They're really not optimized for kind of UI layout or UX design. And these are some of the most widely used UX design tools in the industry, like Figma and Adobe XD and Sketch. And when you look at Figma, it's one of the most popular tools in UX design field, and it's a web-based vector graphics editor. And it also provides desktop app version, and it's really optimized for UX design, especially layout and building out a UI. And one of the most interesting feature is this strong support for online collaborations. In a single file, multiple people can join, you can see other people's cursor, and also you can follow other people's view. And Microsoft have been using Figma in different many projects. And yeah, this is one example. We provide a Windows UI set, the Fluent WinUI and Figma file. You can download at design.windows.com. And we also use Figma for designing some of the HoloLens 2 experience. This is one example that we used for when we are designing this display calibration experience. We use it for the ideation and the storyboarding and UI design, and it was quite effective. So our team created this Figma design file, Figma Toolkit. So essentially, it's a kind of collection of 2D versions of HoloLens 2 style MRTK controls. So you can use this for designing the UI or menus, and also it's quite useful for storyboarding. So if you go to aka.ms/mrdocs, you can find, if you search Figma, and you can find this page. then there's a button where you can access and open the Figma file, Figma Toolkit. And you can also search from Figma community. If you search with HoloLens or mixed reality, you should be able to find this file. Then, so that was a kind of Figma design file. We thought it's going to be super helpful for designers and creators for designing UI. But we didn't stop there. So we started thinking about, can you actually bring the Figma layout into Unity? If it's possible, that'd be amazing. So when he did some research and found that Figma actually provides this REST API as a JSON format. So our team created, so basically a parser. So parsing Figma JSON format file into MRTK's UI components. So let me give you a demo. So this is a Figma Toolkit file. And on the left side, you can see the list of pages. In the intro page, we have instructions of how you can use this Figma Toolkit. Then in the gallery page, you can see a list of UI controls that are available in this Figma Toolkit. Then if you go to viewport page, it provides this viewport for HoloLens 1 and HoloLens 2. And in the example page, you can find some of the examples that actually built with these Figma components, so like menus, and also I added this storyboard example. So you can see how you can just simply by duplicating the canvases and laying out, you can create this kind of useful storyboard to communicate the idea and user interaction flow. And in the component page, you can see how the actual components are constructed with the different visual states and input states. There's buttons and menus and dialogues. And also it has some of the useful kind of hand gestures for storyboarding. So now I'm clicking the plus button and create a new page called My Project. And I just copy and pasted this HoloLens 2 viewport. Then using that SS menu, you can simply drag and drop from this list of UI components. So I just drag and drop the UI backplate, and yeah, just drag and drop the buttons and duplicated them. And now I'm adding the labels, adjusting the text size, also size of the backplate. And of course, you can rename the label of the button. And if you click the button and if you look at the right side, you can actually change the visual state. So if you want to communicate specific input state, you can do that. And under the layer, you can, if you drill down and select the icon, and again, on the right side, there's a drop down where you can change the icon as well. So these icons are also included in the component page where you can add additional sprites. I mean, the PNG images if you want. Yeah, I'm adding additional button and building out some of the UI with the toggle button and checkboxes. Yeah, again, you can try different visual state. Yeah, and I just duplicated text and adding another row of UI. And I just added the slider and adjusting the size. And I'm creating another example to place the UI backplate and adding some text. It's a kind of typical UI panel with a content that describes some objects. And from different page, from the example page, I just copy and pasted this image of Mars rover. And again, using the SS menu, I'm placing some of the rounded button. And and laid out. So now I'm back in Unity and using this Figma bridge window. I'm pasting the unique ID of the files and loading the file and getting the file. And I can see the list of all my pages. And I just checked my project new page and built these pages. So as you can see, everything is rebuilt in Unity and with MRTK's the prefab components, the volumetric ones. So then if I add the MRTK, then run it, then using MRTK's input simulation, you can verify, yeah, these are all actual working UI controls. Then from here, because Figma was 2D tool, definitely we couldn't do any 3D layouts. So from here, I'm adding some more volumetric components and layout. So I'm playing with the Z depth, yeah, placing the button. Then now I can, of course, I can add actual 3D object of a Mars rover. So I just add it to the scene. So from here, now I can add also the interactivity using the MRTK's component. So in this example, I want to make the Mars rover object grabbable. So I just added the object manipulator. And for this menu, I wanted to make it as a hand menu. So I just added the hand menu constraint palm up, which is one of the solver. So when I run it, as you can see now, that UI I created from Figma that became this hand menu. So this is the final result when I deploy to HoloLens 2 device. So I can use it as the actual components and as a hand menu. And of course, you can detach it and place it in the world. And the other example of Mars rover. So as you can see, of course, Figma cannot resolve every UI layout problem because it's a 2D tool, so you cannot do any volumetric layout. So by combining some of the Figma flow with the Unity flow, so you can create this kind of interesting layout easily. Let me check out my clicker. So to install Figma Toolkit and Figma Bridge, it is through the mixed reality feature tool. So if you go to, again, the documentation, aka.ms/mrdocs, so you can find this mixed reality feature tool. And this is simply adding additional packaging information to Unity's package JSON file. So from this list, of course, you can install other great mixed reality packages, including MRTK. And you're going to see this Figma bridge. Then if you include it in the your Unity project, then you're going to see this Figma bridge menu. And to use Figma bridge, you need to get the token from Figma. So if you use this account settings menu, then you're going to be able to find this token from Figma. Then just copy and paste it to Figma bridge inspector UI. Then in each Figma file has this unique page ID. So in the URL, so you can, again, simply copy and paste that ID into this Figma bridge UI, then load the file, then you're going to see a list of all the pages available in your Figma file. Then you can just check and click this build pages, then it'll reconstruct all the components. Currently it's a beta version and it's not going to be translating every components correctly, but most of the components are translated well, including some of the crucial components like buttons and menus, and also including this text. The Figma text will be translated into Unity's Text Mesh Pro with the proper bounds. And it also supports this custom mapping capability. So if you want to actually map to your own customized prefab, then you can override using this custom mapping. So yeah, that was a Figma Toolkit and MRTK unit bridge. I hope it can help design and development collaboration process. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoon. So we have a few minutes left that we could do a Q&A session. Are there any questions? Okay, I have a question. What is your, in spatial, what application or game perhaps has the best UI UX? Or is your personal favorite maybe?
Yeah, personally, it's from first generation HoloLens. There is a game called Fragments. Yeah, and yeah, it was a kind of, you become a detective and in a crime scene, and your environment becomes crime scene, and yeah, basically, finding out and clues and investigating environment. And I think personally, it is one of the best experience creative, leveraging all the spatial mapping and spatial sound and beautiful infographics and yeah, spatial visual elements. And of course, the user interface has a kind of 3D virtual maps and yeah, many great examples. Yeah. So yeah, the fragments was personally one of my best examples. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. It was amazing to watch you build that for the Mars rover project. Very cool.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.